Alrighty, and welcome to our additional English lesson this week. We will do a reading together. And the first question is, do you sometimes wish you were older than you are? When and why? Take a piece of paper, take a pen, write down the question, and think of situations in which you would like to be older and why. And you know the procedure. If you need more time, just press pause. What could you do if you were older? And those might be the situations in which you wish that you were older than you are. You could maybe drive a car, go to clubs, have an own apartment, make your own money, buy things you like, whatever. So, and before we start with our text, sometimes people pretend to be older than they actually are. To pretend means you try to be somebody that you're not, and you try to trick other people into thinking that you are something that you're not. Some people pretend to be doctors. They have never gone to med school. Some people pretend to be older, so they have a fake ID or something. So if you pretend something you're not, you kind of play a role, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you pretend. So this is our text. If you want to, you can open your books on page 68, 69. And I'll just go through some kind of new words, but I mean, they're from Unit 3. We talk about page 68, 69. So we have already learned those words. So when I talk about those words, you should know them. So we have just talked about the word pretend. I think we all know the word realize. Realize is something like, not really find out, but maybe something like understand, see, something like that. Do you have the opposite of the word complicated? What's the opposite of complicated? There are complicated tasks and there are, it starts with an E, easy tasks. And maybe you also have a synonym of complicated. If life gets complicated, you could also say life gets difficult, maybe tough, something like that. Next word, we all know the word to lie. What's the opposite of lie? The opposite of lie is to tell the truth. And a synonym would be to not tell the truth. That is to lie. You are 9th graders. So the girl in the text is 1 year older. Oh, well, maybe she's as old as you, but in terms of school years, she's 1 year above you. And we have talked about the different jobs that there are out there, and a clerk is a person who talks to people, who helps them in a shop, like a shop assistant, something like that. Immediately, watch the spelling with a double L, means right now. Yeah. And well, we have talked about applications all over again. So if you want to have a job, you have to apply for it and you have to fill in an application form. On your own means nobody helps you. You have to do that alone. Yeah? Nobody without help, on your own. And the boardwalk, you can see that actually in the picture. Like it's kind of a road or a street, a path just for people walking. Normally it's along like the beach or something, or maybe yeah, the sea, the ocean, or a lake can have a boardwalk. Program, same in German. I don't have to talk about that. Stories, I remember that. So a building has different stories. Yeah. Different floors is a synonym for that. Unattractive, what would be a synonym? What's more or less the same as unattractive? I don't know. What do you think of ugly? Ugly might be a bit more than just being unattractive, right? But yeah, not really pretty. So the opposite would be pretty or beautiful. Handsome. Some people say with boys you shouldn't say pretty. Pretty is a girly word, so a word more often than not used for girls, and handsome is a word that you use for boys. Mature. Oh my goodness. I would say some people of our class are mature. The opposite would be childish. So if you are mature, you do not behave like a child. You behave like an adult. We know lipstick, that's what you put on your lips. Normally something like red or pinkish. Some have orange and blue. I don't really like that. Curly, this boy has curly hair and this girl has straight hair. So in our class, I think Pembenur has curly hair. Who else has curly hair? Let me think about that. I don't even know. Interesting. I think Laurin has curly hair. Thinking of that. Cheerful, if you're a happy person, outgoing, and the opposite would be sad, depressed, something like that. Graveyard, we had that in our book, like the final chapter of The Great Jacket. They met at the graveyard. That's the place where you bury the dead people, where the dead people. Somebody, I think I told you that one pupil wrote in a class test, that's where dead people live. I'm not so sure if they really live there, but you can visit their grave there. Let's say that. Alrighty, I don't think we need those words. We have talked about cans. I know that. A can of Coke, it's out of metal. It's not a bottle, but you can keep like soup in it or a drink like soda, typical. Credit card, same in German. Accepted, same in German. That's all like easy words for you. I'm sure you know them. And fire. Oh, that's a good one. What's the opposite of to fire? It almost sounds the same. To hire someone. Next page, almost done. But we don't need those words. So those words are really, really easy. Before we start reading, I want you to read, I want you to go to page 68 and read the blurb. The blurb is the little text on the back of the book. So read the text and write down, what do you think? Do you think you will like it? Or do you think this will be a really stupid story? What do you think? Well, and then I want you to read the text on your own. Take your time. And then I want you to do exercise 3. So put them in the right order. I think like you think about it in advance and then you write it down in the right order. And this is the summary of parts 1 to 3. You see those little numbers? So part 1, 2, and 3, those are the sentences that were sorry, in the wrong order. And now 4, 5, 6, you should write sentences like that to sum the story up. So really a short summary. Then I want you to do exercise 5. I want you to copy this table. Maybe you want to turn your paper the other way, like the long way. Make a table like that and fill in the columns. Just take notes, go through the story. What's the name? Where are they from? What's their age? Personality? What do they look like? Their clothes? What does he or she like? Yeah, something like that. And then you should pretend to be Cindy, and you should write a short diary entry for each of these times. So after your day at school, after you've arrived at the motel, after your trip to the Hall of Mirrors, and after the hurricane. Just, I mean, diary entries are not like pages, like couple of sentences, okay? And then you can choose. You can choose Cindy, Tim, or Cal. Choose one of those. And you write about the things that you have written down in the table. Like, use the words that describe their personality, their appearance. Say what you think of him or of her. Once again, half a page at the most. And last job for you, what do you think the story goes on? What happens next? Like, how does it continue? Yeah, once again, I don't want you to write 10 pages. If you want to, fine, you can hand it in, I'll read it. Just a couple of sentences, okay? So how could this story go on or end? Happy ending, yes, no, maybe? And that's it. Yeah, that's the lesson that you have to do, because we only have 2 English lessons a week. Normally we would have 3, and that's the 3rd lesson for this week. If you want to, you can give it to me next week so I can check everything. And if not, I hope that you will do it. That's all you have to do for this lesson. Have fun. Bye bye.